Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing, and something that I've been talking about since last winter was the Michael Saylor debacle. And you were watching the unfolding of a man lose everything. And this should be no surprise that there's a new lawsuit about tax evasion from MicroStrategy's former chairman, Michael Saylor. As you can see, back in December 15th, 2000, the chairman accused of fraud by the SEC. Michael J. Saylor, the chairman of MicroStrategy, a software company, share price soared and then collapsed after the company was forced to restate its books and erase all the profit it had reported because Michael Saylor fudged the numbers to show profit that he didn't have, was accused of fraud by the Security and Exchange Commission. Michael Saylor settled the civil charges that were filed in federal court in Washington without admitting or denying them, and agreed to pay $8.3 million to shareholders and $350,000 in penalties. Right. So this was back in 2000 that this guy was shown to be a crook and a con man. So it should be no surprise that in 2022, Michael Saylor, Chairman Saylor, accused of evading $25 million in taxes by DC Attorney General. Maybe this is one of the reasons he loves Bitcoin, because he thought he could evade taxes. But I told you this guy's a charlatan and a snake oil salesman pushing out a pile of shit on you guys because he's a liar, he's a manipulator, and he's a fraud. DC Attorney General Carl Racine accused tech billionaire Michael Saylor of evading $25 million in district taxes in a lawsuit filed Wednesday. The suit, also named MicroStrategies, the data tracking company Saylor co-founded, as a defendant, claiming that the company conspired to help Saylor evade taxes. Right? This should be no surprise. I've been telling you, this man right here is a fraud, is a charlatan, and a snake oil salesman that is getting rich off of pushing and selling you a bill of goods with his laser beam eyes and all of his nonsense. With what he says Bitcoin is, and he was just using it as a way to evade taxes and a way to raise money and a way to fleece, heist, and shyst the average retail trader. District of Columbia MicroStrategy co-founder, executive chairman, and it makes sense now that the man stepped down, not just because he's losing billions in his Bitcoin purchases and running the company into the ground again, but it's because he knew this was coming. Evading $25 million in district taxes. The lawsuit also named Strategies as a co-defendant. Shares of MicroStrategies were down 6% Wednesday afternoon. Saylor, who oversaw the company push into Bitcoin, stepped down as CEO earlier this month. Under the leadership, MicroStrategy spent $4 billion acquiring Bitcoin at an average price of $30,700. So he's down $10,000 a coin right now. Saylor allegedly claimed to reside in Virginia or Florida, which have lower or no personal income tax rates, while actually living in several different homes around DC, including a penthouse apartment in Georgetown neighborhood, or on his yacht that he has made by fleece heisting and shysting his shareholders and retail traders. Georgetown waterfront on the Potomac River. MicroStrategies allegedly had detailed information confirming that Saylor was in fact a DC resident. In a statement, MicroStrategies said the case is personal tax matter involving Mr. Saylor. The company was not responsible for his day-to-day affairs, which is partly true, but he was the owner and he owns the company. Around 2014, the AG officials claimed the lawsuit MicroStrategies then chief financial officer Saylor about his alleged tax evasion being a potential liability for the company. Saylor and MicroStrategy ended up reaching an agreement where Saylor's salary would be reduced to a nominal $1. The lawsuit claimed in order to reduce the risk authorities would discover the alleged scheme. Still, the AG alleges Saylor continued to benefit from fringe benefits with a high cash value, such as use of the company plane. Now, but that should be no shock, and you should read more on that article so you can get an understanding of the guy that's trying to push a bill of goods. And you really need to understand the people that are pushing stuff like him, that are using their name and fame and media outlets to try to sell you something when they indeed themselves have a horrible background, shitty track record, and a long line of fraud, deception, and criminal activity like Michael Saylor has had. He lies, he manipulates to steal, to get richer and richer on the unsuspecting retail investor. And you can see the price of Bitcoin bounced off to 19,893 after briefly dipping below it last night. And that's your critical level. You see a big reversal candle right there. And you can see we're jagged up and down right now. And as long as we can stay above that 19,000, you're bullish short term in the micro time frame. But if you break this and you start to get some volume come in, this price You can see where the technical target is out of this bear flag. This is a big bear flag that we've been watching, and you go from the top, and we've been diagnosing this out for weeks, since mid 2 months now, since June, right? And your technical target just so happens to get you right down to that $13,336 Bitcoin price target that old Vincenzo's had since the price of Bitcoin was at 30,000 or 63,000 and rising. You can see this super exceeded our upper resistance that we had. It powered and muscled its way over this target up here. See that target that we had there? And now we're all the way up here. And now what you want to watch for is if it consolidates, the first support zone is this blue ring. The second support zone is the blue ring below it and the 100-day moving average. And the third support zone is all the way down here at the 200-day moving average. So that's what you want to watch out for today in this coin. And it comes down when it does retest, because this thing is going to eventually, mark my words, it'll be within a matter of a few weeks or a few days, whenever this little blow off pump is over, the price of this coin will be lower than it was when it started. Mark my words on that. But until then, you want to watch it on the way down, run through these two blue rings, and the 3 moving averages. As soon as it flips those, it's going to become bearish, and this thing will lose 40% in a matter of an hour. But right now, it's still up here, running on its little mini bull run, and you want to watch the shorter term time frames to see if it can hold these moving averages to remain bullish, right? The XRP price, everybody's favorite XRP, you can see we're bouncing on that blue support zone still in this nice little consolidation. And if it breaks up, you could have an upper target in the short term, the short time frame of 34.5 cents. If you get a breakdown and you start to breach this level right here that we've been talking about, you're going to quickly initially come down to that 29.5 to 30 cent underneath local supply zone, right? In the XRP price. And if we zoom out to the 4-hour time frame, you can see more what we're talking about as your next underneath support. If you fail that, is the 26 cents, and then eventually you're going to hit that 18 to 20 cent target that we've had out here for quite some time. And if we look at the daily time frame, you can see where we're at. And if you look at the track that's pretty much been laid out for you about how this bear market would go for quite some time, you can see it back there, right? And as you do know, we're only about halfway through this bear market, as I think we're going to get an extended period down here in the 1000x accumulation zone between the 17, 18 cents all the way down to maybe 11, 10, or briefly 9, 8 cents, right? So we're going to keep watching that as this bear market is not over. There's going to be another big fall and then a long sideways consolidation for quite some time. And I think you're going to have plenty of time to load up on your favorite cryptos to try to 1000x in the next bull run. The little XLM love, you can see it's sitting down here at this underneath 10 cents, and you can see we've been falling and falling and falling ever since we broke out of this rising channel back there that old Vincenzo warned about. And I think XLM, the two areas, or the one big area to watch for max accumulation, is right down in here, right between the 5.5 cents all the way down to 1 3/4 cents. I think you're going to have an extended period of time down here, maybe even flirting with an all-time low to stack up your XLM. And we're going to be watching that over the next few days and few weeks and months and maybe a year to come, as once you break this critical level right here in the 3-hour time frame where you've had these 4 support zones circled in green, you're going to immediately flop down to that 0.078516 cents. And that's going to be a big fall from where you're at now. And that's going to be getting you awfully close into this orange support zone where you have free reign if you have the capital, the money, being able to sit there and accumulate for the next bull run. Anything below this 2.618 Fibonacci, anything below that, about the 7.25 cents, is a great spot to start accumulating for the long-term hodl. Because as you do know, it's a fallacy to think you're just going to buy it today and get rich tomorrow. You have to buy it today, you have to buy it next week, you have to buy it next month when the appropriate times are there in very low depressed levels, and then you got to hold it and wait for the big skyrocket. And it takes time, it takes fortitude, it takes knowledge, power, education, and a plan, most importantly. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to help you help yourself get a plan together and follow through with that plan. And our plan here is to accumulate once we get south into the mid part of the orange support zone, and then our max accumulation is by that 3.618 Fibonacci fib circle. And as we get down into that red support zone, the shit house, aka the golden pocket, right? Like, subscribe, and share. Peace and love to my beautiful audience.